Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this Christian Alliance for Orphans monthly webinar. This is one of my favorite webinars of the year, so I am excited that each of you have joined us. It's one of the most practical, and it looks forward to a huge day for us that happens every year in November. So we're excited to jump right in and talk really practically about Orphan Sunday. This is your opportunity to stir the community where you are, to see God's heart for the fatherless. And you might be here as a small church or a large church or a nonprofit or just an advocate working in your community. There is something here for you to harness the energy of thousands and thousands of Christians coming together with one voice each year to say, what can we do, in really putting feet to that question. And today, we hope that this will give you just a plethora of ideas of how to do that. So we hope that you are already getting out your pen and paper or your iPad, maybe even flipping open your laptop to orphansunday.org to follow along with some of the guides that folks will share with you, and start your own planning and brainstorming even before the webinar ends. This is also your chance to ask some questions, practical, specific, whatever you can think of. We are blessed with Orphan Sunday to have hundreds of volunteer leaders really around the world working with their communities each year. And to help guide those many, many volunteers are a really special core team of core volunteers, just a handful, most who have other full-time jobs on the side that are working tirelessly throughout the year to help get these things together for you and help answer your questions and just equip you as best as possible. And several of those are here with us today. So we're going to jump right in and hear from them and let them give us an idea of what to expect this year and maybe help plant some ideas of stuff that happened last year and the new resources and such, so each of us can move forward full steam ahead toward November. So with that said, I want to turn it over to Roberta Finelli-Davis, our National Director of Orphan Sunday, to get us started. So Roberta, why don't you take it away from here? And before she does, actually, let me say a quick word about those questions that you might have. You do not need to wait at the end of the webinar to ask your questions. If you are familiar with this setup, you know that there is a questions box right there at the bottom of your dashboard. Go ahead and type your questions in as you think of them throughout the webinar. We will then draw from those questions, and the team will answer them at the end of the hour. So Roberta, take it away.
Thanks so much, Elizabeth, and hello, everyone. I'm so glad that everybody joined us this afternoon, and I'm going to start off just talking a little bit about what Orphan Sunday is. And Orphan Sunday began 12 years ago in Zambia. An American, Gary Schneider, was sitting in a church in Zambia as the pastor began to plead for his congregation to care for the orphans in their midst. Their community had been ravaged by AIDS, and so there was many, many orphans in their community. And amazingly, as this pastor pleaded to them, the church responded, and they began by giving the shoes off their feet, as well as what little food that they had. Gary was so moved, and he really felt God calling him to bring Orphan Sunday to the U.S., and so he did just that. And today, God has expanded Orphan Sunday into 55 countries and every state in the United States. So it is growing. God is really on the move, and so we are just blessed to just be a little bit, just a little part of that. Orphan Sunday is the first Sunday in November every year. It's the one day we stand with one voice, one purpose globally for the orphan. And it's one day to respond to God's command in Scripture to care for the orphan. 55 times in Scripture at least, God commands us to care for the orphan. He doesn't call us. He doesn't suggest it to us. He's commanding us to do it. And he tells us that in Isaiah 1:17, where he tells us to defend the cause of the fatherless. In Psalm 82:3, he tells us to give justice to the weak and the fatherless. And all of us know James 1:27 that says, religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this, to visit orphans and widows in their affliction, and to keep oneself unstained from the world. So it's pretty clear that that's what God wants, that he holds the orphan close to his heart, and we should do the same. So Orphan Sunday is the day that you and your church can begin the journey into orphan care, adoption, and foster care, and it can be the day that you begin the conversation about how you can respond to God's command to care for the fatherless. So really, you just have to decide where you're going to begin, how to have an event, and what an event looks like. And really, an event can be anything. You just have to do something. It can be something as great as praying for the orphan that day. That may sound like something small, but it's really something really important and an important place to start. So you can start small there. You don't have to have a large multi-church event. You can have an event that fits your church and what you feel called and what you feel led to do. We have lots and lots of free resources available on orphansunday.org. There are print materials, there are event ideas, there are sermon notes, videos, graphics. You can buy your Orphan Sunday t-shirt on that website, and many of the resources are free, and you can download them and use them as you like. We have layered files that you can request if you want to specifically tailor an event for Orphan Sunday to your church. So those are all available. So you just need to really check out orphansunday.org and look at all of the resources we have available as you start thinking about how Orphan Sunday is going to look in your church, at your house, with your family, anywhere. On the site, also, you're going to see contact information for the Orphan Sunday leadership team, as well as contact information for all 190 U.S. coordinators and 75 international coordinators. As you can see, there are lots of volunteers behind Orphan Sunday. We have 55 countries, did I mention that already, participating, so it is quite amazing. So all of those coordinator contacts are listed under Contact the Team. The leadership team is there. The Orphan Sunday U.S. and international coordinators contact information is there, so feel free to reach out to them. Because we are always happy and they're always happy to help you, to encourage you along the way, so you're not alone at all. Also on the site are partnership packages, and partnership packages are available as you can kind of think of them as Orphan Sunday in a box. These packages have been put together by CAFO member organizations, and they're prepared to partner with you to have a great event. These resources are already planned out. They're a great way to start. The partners have already created the event, and all you need to do is implement them. And they are there to help you along the way, just like the team, the Orphan Sunday team. They're there to help you implement your event and help you if you have questions, anything to do with their package. They're there to help. They're really, really great. And there are lots to choose from. And on the slide, you will see ornaments for orphans. You will see Sweet Sleeps Nickels for nets, and you will see Every Orphan's Hope. They have a child sponsorship package this year. So those are just a few ideas of what you might think about using. And also, once you have your event in mind and you know what you're going to do, we ask that you put those on our Orphan Sunday map. The map is a really great way to look for events in your area. There are also ways to just keep track of how it's growing as Orphan Sunday gets closer. And those are posted in the U.S. and internationally, as you can see. And so it's really great to kind of watch, because the closer we get to Orphan Sunday, the more red the map looks. And that's actually last year's map. So as you can see, there were many, many events. We had about 2,000 of Orphan Sunday events across the nation last year. So it's really great. So those are just a few ways that you can engage in Orphan Sunday, and we have a really, really awesome resource this year, and it's a great event focused on youth, but it really, anybody can use it. It's really great. I started it actually a couple of days ago, and it's really encouraging, and this resource is from Heartwork. And so I'm going to let Jeremiah Parks and Seth Silvers talk a little bit more about Heartwork and how you can partner with them this Orphan Sunday. Jeremiah?
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeremiah Parks. So happy to be with you today. So glad that you have joined us on this webinar. So yeah, I really believe that students, they can't, it's not just that they can participate in Orphan Sunday. In so many ways, they are eager to lead the charge. So if you are a pastor or a leader in your local community or in your church and you're looking for an opportunity to engage students, we have that for you this year through Heartwork. We've seen students spend themselves for the orphan in incredible ways. We've seen them do great things and, like I said, really lead the charge. So I'll tell you just real quickly how Heartwork started, just to give you context. I'm a pastor at New Life Church in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and years ago as I was working with students and as a youth pastor here on staff, we were going through some really difficult things. We had a massive couple of tragedies at our church with our founding pastor. There was a moral failure there. And then about a year later, there was a shooting on our campus where a couple of teenage girls were killed on a Sunday morning. And it was out of that pain and suffering and heartache as we were really hurting so badly that we were looking at ourselves, and the Lord led us to spend ourselves for orphans. He brought healing to us by calling our students to give themselves for others, for those who are poor and are suffering. And he spoke to us specifically Isaiah 58:10, and you may be familiar with this passage where he says, "If you will spend yourselves in behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness and your night will become like the noonday." And so we challenged our students to do that, and it was just absolutely miraculous the way they responded, the way that they gave and made sacrifices. They started to see outside of our consumer culture here in America and a culture that says it's all about me, and instead started to give. And we saw this life and joy and true happiness come as our students learned to give. And so we took our experience here at our church and started to spread that to other students, other youth groups, and Christian schools around the country. And so in the process of doing that, as a way to allow other groups to engage, we created a website. And so on that website, groups were able to engage and take on projects and to fund those projects. And so you can see here on the screen, this is an example of a site. So this was a group called Art for Water, and they raised funding to put a water well in Africa. And so we have resources where you can do projects like that. We've actually seen over 1,000 projects funded by students all through our website, and those projects have come from Christian Alliance for Orphans partners. Wonderful, trusted, trustworthy ministries that are working, doing incredible work around the world. So let me tell you specifically about 30 Days of Heartwork. The 30 Days of Heartwork is an experience that we developed for students as they were sacrificing and giving and funding projects for orphans. It was a way for them to not only live sacrificially in terms of skipping out on Starbucks or not going to the movies or working a few extra hours at their jobs in order to give. It was also giving them an experience to touch the heart of God, to understand the pain and to empathize with children who are suffering around the world. And so the 30 days is a program that the students can walk through together. A lot of it happens individually in their own homes and in their own lives, but also they can do it as a group. And in those 30 days, we're challenging them to read certain scriptures and to watch different videos that will educate them. We're challenging them to do different kinds of fast, like eating beans and rice for several meals and fasting what they would normally eat and eat the beans and rice instead. And as they're doing that, they're wrestling with the heart of God. Their compassion is starting to explode within them, and they're sharing that with their friends, with their family, and really becoming an advocate for the orphan and for the suffering. And so I'm going to turn it over now to Seth, who is with Heartwork. He's our marketing director, and he's going to tell you more specifically what's on the 30 Days of Heartwork program and how you can get that resource for the students in your area.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jeremiah. Like Jeremiah said, we have loved doing what we do, and a lot of times we look at young people and kind of hope that they want to get involved with things like this and with crying out for the orphans and with representing them and representing the needs that God wants to move in this world. But I'm always reminded of 1 Timothy 4:12, where God is actually saying that he wants young people to be the example for believers in speech and in love and in life and in how we live and how young people live. And so we really believe that something like Orphan Sunday is a great way to get students involved. Like Jeremiah told you about 30 Days of Heartwork, we have packaged this, for lack of a better term, on a thumb drive or a USB drive, which you have probably seen all over the place. We've made these really nice wooden ones with the Heartwork logo, like you can see engraved on it, so it doesn't feel like some cheap little thing, but it feels like something you'd want to keep. This little USB drive actually has over 100 pieces of media on it. It includes, if you're a youth pastor or a pastor or have some kind of weekly gathering, it includes sermons, notes, and different types of presentations so that you would actually have messages to be giving each week. It has social media graphics so that if you wanted to give those to your students so that they could be sharing what they're experiencing with their friends. It has an ebook that we wrote that just kind of talks more about how this message works and how this message of spending yourself on others and finding hope in the process really works. And then different fundraising ideas and success stories and other basic promotional materials. The best way to get the 30 Days of Heartwork is we actually have it available on the YouVersion Bible app, which is the main Bible app that most people have on their smartphones. The little brown Bible. It has over 150 million downloads, so people can search 30 Days of Heartwork on there and follow it directly on their phone. Or on this flash drive, there's multiple different printable versions of the 30 Days of Heartwork so that you can print it for the groups that you're leading through this. And I know this call has so many different, it's kind of a general call, and so there might be pastors, there might be individuals, there might be people that are in communities that feel like they kind of have some network power and they know some people in the community to be able to do things. And so this is really a great tool for individuals to do. Many times people do it as individuals. It's a great thing to do as a group leader. If you have a group, it's a great thing to do just getting some friends together or even doing it with your family. And initially what we wanted to do with packaging it like this is give you everything that you could possibly need to lead a group of people well in this. And so if you're interested in this, then the best way to get this from us is just to directly contact me. My email is on that first slide with Jeremiah's intro slide, and my email is just Seth, S-E-T-H, at heartwork.tv, like television, not .com. So Seth at heartwork.tv. You can contact CAFO people after this call, and they'll be able to get you my information as well. But that's the best way to get involved, and we'll talk with you more. But really, the Heartwork and CAFO are working together this year on Orphan Sunday to not just engage churches across the country, but really to engage youth. And this is one great way to do it, and we would love to talk with you about some of the ideas that you have about this too. Another great piece that CAFO is doing this year is really jumping into the foster care initiative and raising awareness of some of the ways that we can help in our own backyards and not just across the world with orphans, but in our own cities with foster care. So I'm going to pass it off to Jason, who's going to tell you more about that. And if you guys have more questions about this, then we'll all be on the call at the end.
Thank you so much, Seth. This is, as Seth said, this is Jason Weber, and I am with the Christian Alliance for Orphans National Foster Care Initiative. And that is something, for those of you not aware of it, that's something that started new this past year. And the idea is that there are so many amazing things that are happening through the members of the Christian Alliance for Orphans in this foster care space. And there is a growing, rapidly growing, over the last several years, movement among various states, and we're seeing tremendous progress. And we just realized that there's so many wonderful things happening. We just want to get ourselves organized a little bit. Between, from state to state, we want those states that are seeing great things happen, we want to provide a common place, a common platform for other states to be able to see that easily and to look at those models and to do some of those same things and see similar kinds of movement launched in their own state. So that's what the National Foster Care Initiative is all about, is those organizations within the Alliance working together to take on some bigger issues that would be really hard to take on individually, and to take on some big projects together. And one of the ways that a lot of coordination can take place between organizations in partnership and in unity to really stand together for kids in foster care is Orphan Sunday. And, the interesting thing is that foster care specific involvement in Orphan Sunday has not started with the National Foster Care Initiative becoming part of the Alliance. It actually started with a state government, particularly the state of Kansas last year. The state recognized the potential in Orphan Sunday to get a lot of traction and to make people in the state of Kansas aware of kids, right, as Seth said, in their own backyard. And so they began a very, very organized and concerted effort in Kansas to engage at least one Orphan Sunday activity in every county in the state. So there are 105 counties in the state of Kansas, and through a lot of work that happened on the state side of things. They had people on the phones. They were working very hard. They had over 135 events across the state. They had at least one in every county in the state, and they particularly focused in those Orphan Sunday events on foster care. And so it's just a great, inspiring model. It sets the bar really high for the rest of us. I think it would be fantastic if you wanted to take on your whole state. But if you're just, interested in mobilizing your church, that's fantastic too. So one of the things that we've done this year that's new is we have materials and a section on the Orphan Sunday website particularly dedicated to foster care. And so what you're seeing up on the screen now is the postcard and poster. The poster is the same as the postcard without the backside that's shown there. And it particularly highlights foster care. And this little guy, Timothy, age 8, cute little man who is a waiting child in the state of Arkansas. And he is hopefully going to lead a lot of people this year in churches around the country to consider what they might do on behalf of kids that are in the same position that he's in. And so we're very excited about this. And these materials can be found. The fastest way to get to the materials and to the partnership packages, which I'll talk about in just a second, is to go to orphansunday.org/fostercare, as it says there at the top of the screen. And so one of the things that we're doing in addition to having the posters there and the postcards is our partnership packages. And so we have a few, if we can look at that next slide. We have one example there of a partnership package with the Florida Baptist Children's Home that they will supply some of the things you need to host a drive in your church. just to raise awareness within your congregation. Other kinds of partnership packages include one from Life Song for Orphans. This is a great one where they will walk you through hosting a foster care panel with people that are local. The great thing about doing something like this when it comes to foster care is the resources are right there in your community. There are social workers right there in your community who love to come be on a panel in your church. There are foster parents that would love to be a part of something like this. The resources are very accessible to you to expose your congregation to the various folks that are working so hard every day in the foster care space. And what Lifesong will do is they'll provide some materials, some prayer cards for you to hand out during that time as well, some action items that can be done in response to that time. And so they want to help you set that up. Another partnership package is with Olive Crest, and they have a drive for kids that are aging out of foster care. We find that that's one of the things that people really resonate with, is this idea that there are 25,000 kids approximately every year in the country who are aging out of foster care and are trying to get things set up, trying to get their first apartment set up. Some of them are trying to go to college, and this drive pulls together people in your church to provide gift cards to help those kids out as they get set up in life. And then WinShape Homes isn't just another example of a partnership package, foster care. Now this is a great one. This involves free Chick-fil-A. I won't go into a lot of details. That should be enough to entice you to go check it out on the website. But it would involve a free Chick-fil-A lunch with a representative from WinShape Homes talking to your orphan ministry team at your church about ways to engage your church in the foster care space. So we're just thrilled that the Orphan Sunday team has done such a great job of being very intentional about creating new things, new materials that are very specific to foster care. And we're just excited to see how God's going to use many of you to specifically raise up a lot of folks, a lot of followers of Christ, to care for kids in this space. And so now we're going to pass it on to the media director of Orphan Sunday, Sandra Flack.
Hello, everyone. I am here to help Orphan Sunday and help you to promote your Orphan Sunday event. And we just want you to know that everything that you need to promote your event is found on the Orphan Sunday website, orphansunday.org. That's already been mentioned. And there are lots of media tools that you can use through social media. We're going to be talking about that, press release, radio, and I just want to add that I'm available by email at any time if you have any questions or need any help with that. You would just go to my email is osmedia@kfo.org. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is the press release, which is found on the website down at the bottom of the page. If you go to resources, and you can go down where it says at the bottom, all resources, and it'll say press release. And that's designed for you to send out to newspapers, local Christian radio, local cable TV. It's all formatted for you. You just have to plug in your name, your contact information, your event, the date, your organization or your church. It's all set up there for you to be able to use that. It's super simple, and you can do that. Another thing now that we have new this year that we're really excited about are some public service announcements that were designed to use on local Christian radio, and you can listen to them. They're in an MP3 form. Also on the website, you would go to all resources, and then down at the bottom there you can see where it would say radio PSA, and there's a 30-second spot and a 60-second spot, very sweet child's voice, talking all about Orphan Sunday and how your church can get involved to celebrate Orphan Sunday. And I just really want to add, do not be afraid of radio. I am someone who, the only thing I knew about radio a few years ago was how to turn it on, and now I'm on the radio all the time, and really it was because of Orphan Sunday and God opening doors and opportunities to be able to be on the radio to talk about Orphan Sunday and orphans and foster care and adoption and all of that. And local Christian radio stations, they really need content. They like local stuff. They like to talk to real adoptive and foster families. And if you can connect with them, I just simply sent an email to a local Christian station. And I'm not really talking like K-Love big. I'm talking more local. And my region of the country is upstate New York. So I'm not really in the Bible Belt where maybe many of you are. But we do have some local Christian radio stations up here. And I just sent an email saying, hey, would you be interested in celebrating Orphan Sunday? This is when it is. This is what it's about. I'm an adoptive mom. And they emailed me right back, and they said, oh, we would love to do that, and we would love to interview you. And so that's kind of how it got started. And they're the ones who came to me wanting to do those public service announcements for us. So don't be afraid. You never know where it's going to go. Reach out to your local Christian stations. There's Christian talk radio stations and there's Christian music stations. So don't be afraid to connect there. And these public service spots are really designed. The radio station can go right there. They're already recorded, and all they have to do is download them and play them. So it's super simple. And another area that I want to talk about is social media, which is really a great way to spread the news about Orphan Sunday and what your event and what your church is doing. And if you go again to the resources section of the website and go down where it says all resources, there's a little title there that says help spread the word, and it has everything you need already scripted for ways you can put it on Facebook. There's Facebook and Twitter scripts, and you can just go and use those. They're already sample posts. There's social media graphics that are available, so you can change your picture on Facebook and whatnot, and really promote your event. You can post the Orphan Sunday video. You can post whatever your church is going to be doing and invite people. I really think an effective way to reach people and invite people is through personally messaging them through their instant message and invite people personally to come to the event that your church is planning, whether it's a Sunday morning service or a Sunday evening or another event on another day. You can use those personal invitations, because sometimes when we throw stuff up on the news feed, people scroll through, and if it's too long, they don't read it, or sometimes they just kind of look at it and say, oh, that's nice. But if you privately message somebody, people that you know, and invite them or tell them all about it, they're more apt to respond to you. So that's just really one way that you want to be able to do that. You can also create an event page if your church is going to be doing a specific event and you want to get the word out about that. You can make it an event and people can respond back to you. And we also encourage you to hashtag everything with the hashtag Orphan Sunday 2014. So that is all I have regarding media. And again, if you have any questions or you want to know any more about any of the media, ways to reach out through media, I'm available at osmedia@kfo.org. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jody Jackson-Tucker, our International Director for Orphan Sunday, and she has an international update for us. Jody?
Hello, everyone, and I'm just so excited to be part of this call, and I want to thank all of you for being on this webinar and for soaking up this rich information. I want to just take a moment to tell you some of the exciting work that's going on around the world. As Roberta mentioned, much to our joy, over the last 5 years, Orphan Sunday has spread all around the world, and I added a new country last night, El Salvador, so we now have 54 countries registered for Orphan Sunday, which is just incredible for us to watch. Social media is alive and well in this space, and in addition to what Sandra shared, I wanted to let you know if you're interested in a particular country, there's a couple of ways you can check on what's going on in that nation if you've adopted or been on a mission trip there, or your church wants to reach out there. On the contact page, you can scroll down lower than the U.S. directory, and you'll see all of the international coordinators. We've gone to a model now of having only about 1 or 2 for each country because we had too many people signed up around the world as coordinators, if you can imagine. So we've gone to a country leader model, and so you can reach out to those folks there if you have any questions about what's going on in Orphan Sunday. This photo that I'm sharing with you here on the PowerPoint is from Philippines, and you can see our country coordinator for Philippines, May Len, on the left there, wearing her Orphan Sunday t-shirt. They've already gotten started. They're having a meeting, handing out posters, and it's just really inspiring to know that our brothers and sisters all around the world are involved in Orphan Sunday. So please lift us up in prayer as we continue to work with these groups. The Orphan Sunday website is now available in over 40 languages. On the upper right-hand corner of the homepage, you'll see a little tab that says Select Language, and you can click there, and if you wait a moment, the site will auto-translate into whatever language you chose. So we're extremely blessed by that. We'll also have fully dedicated sites coming online during August in Russian and Mandarin. On the bottom of the resources page, we have a whole series of resources available now in Spanish. So if you're working with another nation through any kind of your outreach, please feel free to email me and see how I can assist you in any way. I also wanted to share with you that for the last couple of years we have highlighted a nation where God is really moving and the church is really stepping up to embrace its orphans. You may recall, if you were involved in past years, 2 years ago we went to Zambia to the original church where Orphan Sunday began. Last year we featured Ukraine, and in fact we filmed in a church that is now in the war zone in Ukraine. And this year we are going to Guatemala, and we're very blessed to be working with a team in Guatemala to bring you a piece of special content that will be a short film about between 20 to 30 minutes long that will showcase how the church is rising for the orphans in Guatemala, the work that's being done there, and how families are embracing children in Guatemala with in-country adoption. Many of you probably know it's not possible to adopt internationally from Guatemala at this time, but many Guatemalans in the church are stepping up to get involved in orphan care, foster care, and adoption in that nation. So I'm very excited to be able to bring you that piece of content. And at this time, I will just turn it back over to Elizabeth Wiebe, and we'll open up our panel for questions and answers. My email is tucker@cafo.org, tucker@cafo.org, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks so much, Jody and team, and we will take any of your questions right now. We have a few minutes, and our panelists are still here. A quick reminder, go ahead and just type your questions in the questions panel at the bottom of your dashboard. Jody, this was so helpful and so practical, and I just have to say a special shout out and thank you to you for your leadership. You direct Orphan Sunday in all aspects, and it is the job of 3 people, and you do it in such an amazing way. I want to jump quickly back to our Heartwork team and ask if you guys can give us your website one more time. Let's see here. Jeremiah, let me get you unmuted here. And maybe even tell us how to get, there's been some questions on the flash drive, how specifically to access those. So Jeremiah and Seth, I have you both unmuted. Can you give us a little more on that?
Yes, so our website is heartwork.tv. So that's .tv at the end, as in television. And then Seth, why don't you can go ahead and give more detail of what's specifically in the drive?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, the drive is kind of anything and everything a leader would need to lead a group through it. We are in the process of getting an official store up on our website, and so we're distributing these kind of through a back-end way, and so I've actually already been emailing some of you guys that have been contacted me since 20 minutes ago when we talked about this, but the best way to do it is just to contact me through my email, which is seth@heartwork.tv, and then we'll have you kind of make a donation to our website. They're only $30, so we'll have you make a donation that's kind of earmarked as 30 Days of Heartwork Digital Drive, and then once that comes into our processing, which would be really quickly, then we would be able to get it out to you as soon as possible. So that is going to be the best way. There's also, we always want this resource to be free, and so you can find it on our website, or I can direct you to it after you contacting me, to where you can download it for free, or it's for free on the Bible app. So we never want to charge people to go through the devotional, but there's going to be times when a leader wants additional resources, and so there's resources, some that you can only get on the flash drive, but things like the videos and the actual downloadable 30 Days of Heartwork, those are on our website. You can find those. The drive just kind of gives the convenience of them all being in the same place and not having to worry about streaming videos or downloading them or anything like that. Does that answer the question, you think, Elizabeth?
Yeah, it does, Seth. Great. Thank you so much. That was helpful. Jody, can you tell us a little bit more about how a local church can find who else might be doing Orphan Sunday near them? If they're feeling very small fish, big waters, and they're just wondering if there's other folks in their community also recognizing Orphan Sunday?
Yes, and I'm really excited to take that question because sometimes we feel like we have to be a mega church to do Orphan Sunday, and another thing we've learned along the way is that sometimes we feel like, well, this has to begin with the pastor preaching a full sermon on Orphan Sunday about the orphan. But let me just encourage you that we have seen every kind of Orphan Sunday event. And one thing Roberta and I and our team has learned over the years is whatever door is open, you walk through that door. So we have literally seen children's lives changed because a couple of kids got together and did an Orphan Sunday lemonade stand. We have so many testimonies of how our small offerings led to huge outcomes for orphan children. Keep in mind, this whole movement in 55 countries around the world began in a small church with a dirt floor in a totally unknown place in Kalingalinga, Zambia. So God will not despise your small beginnings. So if you feel like you're a small church or you don't have the bandwidth to do this, we are here for you, and that is why we have tried to make so many resources available for you. Roberta, who spoke earlier on this call, can put you in touch with other people in your area, or you can reach out to them yourself. Whoever is the local coordinator for your region, if you look on the contact page, whatever state you're in, email the person closest to you and start a dialogue with them. That's what they're there for. They're there to encourage you. There's also 4 regional Facebook pages now for Orphan Sunday for the 4 quadrants of the United States. I failed to mention this earlier. If you go to Facebook and just put Orphan Sunday in the search bar, you will see lots of different Orphan Sunday pages for other countries. There's one for Mexico, Guatemala. Some of them are in other languages. But we have 4 regional Facebook pages now where you can connect to other people in your region. So just let us know whatever help you need, and we are here for you.
That is great. Next question actually comes from a friend of ours in India. I want to give a big shout out to Sampath, who is joining us from around the world. And he asked a question we actually get a lot. So maybe, Jody, you can talk about this. Is it okay to observe Orphan Sunday on a different Sunday, maybe the 2nd or 3rd, instead of the designated November 2nd this year, if there's another conflict?
Yes. Sampath, thank you for bringing that up. Due to cultural issues in some other nations, or you may already have something planned in your church for November 2nd, we completely encourage you to do as you and your congregation or your group feel led. In the U.S., November is National Adoption Month, so that's why Orphan Sunday was originally placed in the first Sunday in November. But there are some places in the world where it's celebrated in late October, and also the second Sunday in November in other regions. So as long as it's occurring somewhere in that time frame, we certainly love what you're doing, and most importantly, just put your event on the map. Your event does not have to fall on November 2nd to be on the map. Last year we had events going on really from the end of September right through the end of November.
That is great. Jumping over, Sandra, to you in the media office quickly, is there a good or an ideal timeline to send out press releases and PSAs?
You want to do it not too far ahead, but not too last minute. So I would say probably throughout October would be a good time.
Okay, great, great. Very helpful. And Jody, I'm not sure who the best person is for this, but just remind everybody, I know we've given a lot of resources and links, people looking for the Orphan Sunday graphics and posters. We've seen some great pictures of those on the PowerPoint today. How can they download those? Can they personalize them? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. On the Orphan Sunday homepage, there are two tabs you can go to. There's one that says Plan Your Event, and there's another one that says Resources. If you click on either of those, you'll see an icon that says Posters and Flyers, and you can click there, and you can download PDFs that you can upload to Vistaprint or any kind of printing service like that. You can print them off yourselves if you don't have budget for it. There's also an option there for one of the posters where you can write in the date and time of your event if you'd like to do that manually. If you would like to create your own file, personalize your own file, you can write to us at info, I-N-F-O, at CAFO.org. That's Christian Alliance for Orphans, CAFO.org. And you can request the layered files, the design files, and we will send those out to you via Dropbox.
Great, great. This is helpful. I'll just let everybody on the call know that if you missed one of the many email addresses that were given out, everybody here is accessible and gave them out, but I know that's a lot. Please feel free just to email us at the info@cafo.org web email address you see there on the screen, and we will direct that to the right person. Or if we did not get to your question today or something you think of afterwards, just shoot it to that email address and we'll make sure the team sees it. There are so many things on the orphansunday.org website. It is easy to manage, but I know it's easy to miss things as well. So just ask. There is a team standing by ready to help you on those things. We have also recorded this webinar and have tried to keep it as clear and concise and just crisp as we can for you so you can easily share it with others. A layperson in your church, a pastor, a leader, somebody across your community who just needs a quick snapshot of what Orphan Sunday can do and what's out there for them. This will be available for you online. We'll make sure you get an email about that in the next day or two. That concludes our webinar for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be in touch soon with the time and registration for next month's webinar. And with that, we hope you have a blessed day.